Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Minister of State for Lands, Housing and Urban Development, KAA founding partner, KAA senior partner, the indefatigable Honorable Sam Mayanja.
As I was introduced, my name's I've always been Sam Mayanja, but a few months ago they added on doctor, so I became Dr. Sam Mayanja. And then a few months thereafter, Honorable, so Dr. Honorable Sam Mayanja. Before that, I was senior partner with KAA, so Dr. Honorable Sam, senior partner, KAA, then maybe other things. I even don't know where one can start, but as I came in, my eyes caught the retired Chief Justice Bart Katurebe, and then I immediately remembered my journey with KAA. Bart Katurebe has just stepped out, but he would testify to what happened when we first met. Actually, I had met Bart Katurebe a few years back when I was still with the United Nations, and I had come to Uganda to check on a project called Trans-Africa Highway Authority. This was a project supposed to build a highway from Mombasa to Lagos across Africa, and I was its legal advisor. And I had come to Uganda to meet the political authority, and Bart Katurebe was the Minister of Regional Cooperation, Assistant Minister, in charge of Regional Cooperation, and was in charge of coordinating this United Nations project. So when I went to his office, we chatted and talked and went over what had brought me to the country. And when we were parting, he said, I'm going. You are leaving me here, earning my 3,500 shillings. So at that time, the salary of retired CJ Bart Katurebe was 3,500 shillings per month. I don't know what that money can do to a person today. And I said, okay, and we left. I didn't know that later in life, we would work together to form something which has brought us today. Now, years later, I was just walking down Standard Chartered Bank. I had just acquired premises on Osimba Manyo House. A year before, I had left Uganda Development Bank as bank secretary, and I had formed Sam Mayanja and Advocates, and it was expanding, and I thought I would get bigger premises. So I had gone to get bigger premises, which I had successfully done, and I was just walking back down to Amber House, where my humble office was, only to see soldiers running after me. I wondered what I had done. Then the first soldier to get to me said, Attorney General. I said, Attorney General Bart Katurebe? He said, yes, Bart Katurebe. So I turned back now confident that I'm not being arrested for any suspected crime. So Bart said, Sam, what are you doing? He said it in Uganda. And I said, well, when I left UDBA, I did this. Now I've just got to pray. He said, no. You are not for that kind of small thing. Come, we talk after lunch at 2, 5th row, workers' house. We talk about something bigger than just Sam Mayanja and co-advocates. Your potential is not for a one farm chambers. I think you have potential for something bigger. So 2 o'clock exactly, I was in workers house. And I think at that time, of course, KA had no name, but I think we were the only tenants in workers house. Because that lift would take only us up to the 5th floor. And there would be nobody. That entire building, we were the only, nobody could afford to get premises in workers' house. So when I met Bat Katurebe, they were just actually measuring to demarcate the offices. One thing which I first saw, who will afford to pay these premises? How much of it are you taking? He said, no, we are taking this entire floor. We are taking this, I think half of the floor, we are taking it. I wondered who has money enough to take that kind of space. But he was the confident man that he always is. He said, no, money is going to come. You sit down and we chat. Erika Ruhanga walked in just a few minutes after. Okay, there was Vivian. Vivian stand up for recognition. Everybody knows Karuhanga, therefore we don't need to. But Vivian, you may not know, she was the personal secretary to the managing partner whom we assume shall be, that is the Batu Katurebe. She was the personal secretary, she was the cashier, she was the accountant, she was the purchaser, she was everything. She was handling everything. The only other employee who was there. And later on she recruited again Muite. So Erika Rohan comes in, says, I want to supply coffee. I'm a coffee supplier. Then I said, this man I thought was an MP. Now he's also a coffee supplier. But actually that's what he meant. He wanted to serve us with coffee in our cups. So he went around and served us coffee. Said, so this is a coffee surprise. That was the first joke. And I was to get used to the many jokes Erika Ruhanga was always giving up to today. You can't leave his presence without a wonderful joke coming from him. Maybe I still will ask him to stand up for recognition. That is Erika Ruhanga for you. The man of the party. You can't be around him and fail to smile and to laugh. He can also get a laughter from me when he knows we have just had a rough time together in a meeting. Karan can come, and within a few minutes you are laughing. And even at this point of time, I can interrupt that KAA helped Karuhanga to pay school fees for one of the current partners of KAA, Edison Karuhanga. Partly his fees came from KAA, so no wonder he has to be here as a partner. Batu Katurebe was the most professional and consistent professional I have ever met in the legal. Now, apart from being the first person, lawyer, to have been Attorney General, to have gone to practice and started the most prestigious legal firm, and to have gone on and become the Chief Justice of Uganda. Very few people have gone through those stages. And the man is a hard worker. I remember when we got instructions from the East African Development Bank, I think it was Blue Line, that was the first time. They brought us a heap of documents. if a man was been to government, one would respect, he would call a junior who had acquired it and ask him to go through those documents and then give him a brief. But C.J. Katurebe sat on that box of documents and read through them. He was with Wamboga. And Wamboga was also forced to read. No wonder by the time Wamboga finished reading, he had to acquire glasses. So that tells you the heap of documents But Katurebe personally went through. Eventually passed on that mentor of that case to Peter Kabasi, which he did successfully. And because of our success, East African Development Bank, which would have gone under if we had not succeeded, now is one of the vibrant banks in the entire region, thanks to KAA. And I wish to tell you, I used to rush to Bat Katurebe and say, we should go here and here and here and get instructions. But Katurebe would say, no, our work, our quality of work, the reputation we build will bring the clients. Of course, I would go to Karuhanga and complain. Say, see, if only I could go with him, we could have got those instructions. But he says, the quality of the work we produce will earn us the reputation and bring the clients. And he was right. We concentrated on the quality of work. And within a year, everybody in this country and beyond the borders knew about KAA. And I want to tell you, sir, that we have built on that one, on quality, the quality of work. The KAA to be a center of excellence for the legal work which we bring out of our chambers. I'm happy. When I talk about Batu Katurebe, I always talk about the opposite of him, Eric Karuhanga. Always outgoing. If he wants you to go and get instructions from Tropical Bank, he will not leave you until you've gone with him. One time he just pulled me, said, come, you have to go to CAA and do the work. I said, look, these people, he just come. And by the time we finished talking, we were already in Entebbe, in CAA. And he said, he just introduced me, said, this is Mayanja is the head of this collection, he's going to give you the best service. Me have gone. I didn't know even where to start. With Akandonda and those, I think Kandonda was the managing director in that group. But I sat with them, we did the work, and I think that's the biggest collection we have ever done. We recovered 536 billion for Civil Aviation Authority, something which had never happened before, and which they still talk about today. And we helped. CAA was going under liquidation if we hadn't recovered that money. But because we applied professionalism, persistence, and teamwork, you can't believe it. Some of the people who worked with me on that big project were not senior lawyers because they were all busy elsewhere. It was Bernard Katurebe, who was very junior at that time. The name itself suggests that he's the son of but yes, it's true. But I didn't pick him because of that. He was a very young, but he knew. What's this name? But is Bart around? He's not. I mean Bernard. Yes. I reserved this remark. I reserved the remark which I'm going to make now until Attorney General Kiriwa Kiwanuka walks in. And now he has gracefully walked in. I think we all put our hands together for the Attorney General and head of the bar, Kiwanuka Kiriwa. But what I reserved until he's here was the fact that I actually found Kiwanuka Kiriwa in KAA. He was part of the team which was planning the setting up of KAA. And even I still remember the words he was uttering: professionalism, excellency, and getting results. The rest, whether he left and went, doesn't matter. But now he's here, part of us in this celebration. And he knows whenever I meet him, I tell him, I know you are part of us. We are meant to work together. And I can tell you, he has brought something special to government. And whenever he does something good, he knows. I give him a call and tell him, hey, KK, that was very good. And I believe that is KA. That's KK? KAA? I don't know which is which. Maybe we should just combine both. Attorney General, welcome. Peter Kabasi is one of the senior ones we have. When we came together, we knew he was going to come. We actually reserved an office for him. And he came with speed, and we gave him the most difficult assignments. One of them, I'm glad that Centenary Bank is here. And Penina Kasule, the bank secretary, is here. She can stand for recognition. Those of you who know her, she's very, very, very thorough. When you are discussing with Penina Kasule, you wonder whether she called you for legal advice or to teach you about banking law. She knows her work so thorough. But she would sit and discuss. And she brought to us the case of Centenary Bank when its very existence was being threatened with what they call share contributors. And this was a big case. I think it came when Bart was there, and then continued with Peter Kabasi to handle the bulk of it. The fact that we actually succeeded because of our tenacity and professionalism, but I must say, and be humble enough to say, because of also Penina's input. And the entire Catholic Church, which is the main shareholder of Centenary Bank, passed a resolution to thank us. And the Cardinal gave us a special invitation to visit him, for him to say thank you. And it's me and Peter Kabasi, we went to respond to that invitation, and he humbly sat there, served us, and thanked us. And I felt so humbled by this man of God who is a cardinal of the Catholic Church, and thanked us for a professional job well done. Those of you who, I know everybody knows Peter Kabasi, but for this particular mention, I'll ask him to stand up for. That's Peter Kabasi. By the time he joined us, he was still the president of the International Law Commission. International Law Commission, that man. Those of you who don't know the International Law Commission, United Nations have, I think, 3 big bodies. The United Nations Security Council, the General Assembly, and the Law Commission. And Peter Kabasi was the president of the Law Commission. So thank you for bringing that international repute to us. I would be unfair to Penina if I don't ask the managing director, Kasi Fabian, to stand up also for recognition, for having honor to be us. We had made it a custom every year to call on Fabian. And if we didn't, he would call himself. And we have been with him. He always calls on us, and we always feel we are part of Centenary Bank. And when we feel we are not getting enough instructions, we call on him. And he said, but you, we have reserved you for the big cases. But we say we can also take the small cases. So, Fabian, thank you for being consistent. And we've grown, by the way, with Centenary Bank. When they needed that property, they came and called on us, and we sent our partner to UK to solve one of the problems which was hindering them to expand. And when we were working together at that time, their headquarters was on Entebbe Road. Now they have expanded to Mapera House. And they specifically invited us to go and visit that huge structure and told us that we are part of them. Thank you for honoring us. Maybe I would mention one other specific huge case. And this also goes because Bart Katulebin introduced me to the head of the legal department of Barclays in the entire East Africa, Mr. Akiwumi. And what happened later, Akiwumi gave us a special instruction to get all the loans which had been scattered on one big client, put the money on KAA account, and then pay all these banks and get all the titles to KAA. So Barclays Bank at that time, and I'm talking about 25 or 27 years ago, about 20 some, no, we are 20 now. So I'm talking about 17 years ago. At that time, $1 billion was a lot of money. Not many people would talk about $1 billion anyway. But Barclays Bank got 10 billion, put it on our account, and told us to go and pay various banks, collect all those titles, transfer them in the names, put them, first of all, the names of the bank, put the mortgage, perfect it. And we did it. And we did it. And because of that, Barclays Bank, which is ABSA now, became confident to expand from two branches, that's Kampala Road and Room Street, to 24 branches. And the MD from Kenya, what was his name, Eddie? Mbuvi. Yeah, it was Mr. Mbuvi. Yes. And it is amazing what we have been able to do in KAA and what we have been involved in. And at this point in time, I want also to introduce Dr. Kalumia, who came all from the United Nations and decided to be part of KAA. Dr. Kalumia, you can stand up for recognition. He was with UN for 30-something years, at the level of director. And when he came to Uganda, he said it's KAA. I was involved in persuading government to release Joseph Masiko to come and join KAA. And they were so reluctant. You know, in government, and Kiwanuka Chiliwa now knows it, to get a diligent worker is very difficult. And I get hearing what comes from Kiwanuka Chiliwa's chambers. And I understand he has formed his own chamber within the chamber to make sure he gets the people who actually work. So, Keke, you know that I spy on you. Now, Dr. Kiduma Kubia refused to release Joseph Masiko. So partners told me that we understand you go to the same church with Dr. Kiduma Kubia. Go and persuade him. So I kept going. Kidu refused. Little did I know other powers higher than Kiduma Kubia had also refused. Until eventually Joseph Masiko was allowed to leave government on early retirement to come and join KAA. And now he's the our managing partner. And can you stand up? I'm sure you've seen him around, but still you may want to see him. One of the big things we did in KAA, at that time, yes, money was, but we are thinking of expanding the farm, was a daredevil action took by myself and Erika Ruhanga. I had just finished a World Bank consultancy, and Barclays Standard Chartered Bank was told to take over the ginaries over which I had consulted. And we went with Eddie to the then managing director, forgotten, I think he was from Guinea, and we said we can recover this money for you. And they gave us an assignment to take an investor to Soroti and take over the ginnery in Soroti. So we didn't know what to expect. We thought that people would be very happy to receive an investor who would revive their ginnery. Little did we know that to those people, we had gone to take over their ginnery and their cotton business. When we arrived in Soroti town hall, I think it was a town hall, we found the place was full. Virtually half of the town of Soroti was there. So many bicycles outside. I think that's the main transport. And when we marched in, we had carefully taken a bank official. The chairman of the Teso Cooperative Union introduced us as the people from the bank and the lawyers. What followed next, you can't understand. They said that actually these are the people who have come to take our ginnery. Next, they refused to talk English. They said they would talk on the Indian language. What we had next, they wanted actually to reach Erika Wang because he was tall. And they suspected he must be at that time there was the insurrection in Teso had just ended. And so there was a lot of anti-NRM feeling there. So they thought Eri must be a brother of Yoweri Museveni. So they said, that Munyonyo must get out. At least we can talk to a Uganda, but we can't talk to a Munyonyo. Actually, they stood up the whole thing, you can imagine. We almost left that place. We just managed to survive. But eventually, and I think that day we just left. But we so much wanted to succeed. And we did a good preparation. We did, Ed is a good diplomat. He prepared properly. We went again. This time we were well received. We served the people with drinks. They want to drink, so they said, now these are one of us. Then they said, now we can talk. They gave their conditions. If this man is to take over this ginnery, every employee must come from Soroti, must be Soroti. We said, okay. The borehole there must serve every person in the area. We said, tick. Then they said they must be given, I think, a Christmas party, the ginnery. We told the man, please, that you make sure you budget for that. Ticked. And they said everybody who had come to that meeting must be given transport back. We said, do you have money? The man didn't have money, but he had to mobilize. And then finally, at the end of the meeting, when we have all agreed, you must serve us with drinks. It was all agreed. And we succeeded. And that cotton industry now thriving in Teso is because of KAA. We succeeded. I also noticed that KAA is very near God. from my book, and Eddie knows because he would test the velocity of my voice, my chords, every Monday, and would say, Sam, you are preaching. And I would say, yes, I was preaching. That's why your voice is hoarse. We lose you every Monday because your voice. So he was urging me not to preach too often. But my life is about preaching. I started life as a street preacher. I preached when I was 13, and I've preached in all the streets of Kampala. Not only me, but Katrewe's brother was or is a bishop. I say was, I'm not sure, because I heard of news of death some time back, but if he's still alive, he was a bishop. A Catholic bishop, that means the family was deprived of children and grandchildren so that one of them can be a bishop. So I said, that's 10 of KAA. Then I found Kawasi, only to find Kawasi's brother was also a bishop. I said, hey, blessings are not actually here in this house. I found that Masiko has actually a prayer group in his house. I said, wonderful. Karuhanga became a great prayer person. Actually, one time, Vivian was very sick. And she was really in a very sad condition. Eric Karuhanga went there. And Eric Karuhanga made a very powerful prayer. And Vivian recovered. I talked about Bart, but I didn't. His wife must stand up. She gets younger and younger all the time. And she has always been with us. Thank you for supporting Bart. Current money partner, your dear wife is there. She's always praying for us. She's a very prayerful lady. You can stand up for recognition. Whenever you meet her, she insists that you greet her. Even if we're at a distance, she will call you. Thank you for loving us, Erika Ruhanga, Stella. We always know Stella. Can you Stella go stand up for recognition? And we all know all the Karuhanga children, even the one next can stand. That's the Eureka. One of them, of course, we paid the school fees. But thank you for honoring this occasion. And I can assure you, UK is much stronger now than it was before. I think in even 25 years, they normally celebrate. So another 5 years from now, we may be in a better place even than this. And you all be here together to again celebrate going to another level.